Okay, friends, we are back today for our next chapter of the Wayside School books. So, remember, we are reading Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger by Lewis Thacker. Yesterday, we read the 9th chapter. Can you believe that? We're already on chapter 10 of the book, and today we're going to read chapter 10. Remember, yesterday we found out that Mrs. Jules was going to be leaving because she was having a baby. So they have a substitute named Mr. Gorf. So we have to find out about him. So here is his picture. Let's see what Mr. Gorf is about. Mr. Gorf, muttered Joy as she walked down the stairs to recess. Did she say Mr. Gorf? Mauricia nodded. Leslie caught up to them. Did she say Mr. Gorf? I think so, said Mauricia. Do you think? Leslie asked. I don't know, said Mauricia. I hope not, said Joy. Before Mrs. Jules ever came to Wayside School, the children had a very mean teacher named Mrs. Gorf. She was not very nice. Even Myron was worried, and Myron had never gotten in trouble in his whole life. Mr. Gorf might be a good teacher, said Eric Bacon. Just because he has the same last name as Mrs. Gorf doesn't mean he'll be horrible. That's right, said Eric Ovens. People with the same name can be different. I agree, said Eric Fry. There are probably lots of people named Gorf, Damien said hopefully. I bet if you looked in the phone book, you'd find 10 whole pages of Gorfs. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not coming to school tomorrow to find out, said Joy. Me neither, Mauricia agreed. But the next morning, their parents made them all go to school. Everyone arrived on time. Nobody dared to be late. But there was no teacher. Dee Dee sat down next to Myron. Is he here? She whispered. Shh, whispered Myron, and he folded his hands on his desk and stared straight ahead. One by one, the children entered the classroom and quietly sat down at their desks. They couldn't take any chances. Mr. Gorf might walk through the door at any moment. Or maybe he was already there, hiding in the coat closet, just waiting for someone to do something wrong. I didn't want to come today, whispered Calvin, but my parents made me. Shh, said Bebe. He might hear you. Mr. Kidswater's voice came over the PA system. Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, Mr. Kidswater, the children all answered together, like good little boys and girls. They listened attentively to their principal. Then, when Mr. Kidswater was finished, they took out their arithmetic books, remember arithmetic means math, and started working. After that, they did social studies, reading, and spelling. When the recess bell rang, the children put their books neatly in their desks, quietly lined up, and walked out of the room and down the stairs. So, how's your substitute teacher? Asked Lewis on the playground. Tough, said Bebe. I've never worked so hard in my entire life. I did more work before 10 o'clock than most people do in a day, said Calvin. But he's very fair, Myron quickly added, just in case Mr. Gorf was listening somewhere. He might have been hiding in the bushes. Yes, he's nice and fair and a very good teacher, said Jenny. Very smart, too, said Dee Dee. We're so lucky to have him. Lewis twisted the ends of his mustache between his fingers. He was curious, probably. After recess, the children returned to class and worked until lunchtime. At lunch, they ate all the food Miss Mush served them, and their manners were perfect. Mr. Gorf might have been hiding under the lunch table. After lunch, they returned to class and practiced their handwriting. Myron looked around. All of a sudden, he got a terrible urge to do something. Anything. Ugga bugga, he said. Jenny put a finger to her lips. Biff, boff, boof, said Myron a little louder. Shh, said Jenny. Myron stood up. No, he shouted. I don't have to be quiet. Everyone tried to get Myron to hush up. Myron climbed on top of his desk. Look around, folks. There's no teacher. We're doing all this work for nothing. Get down, whispered Allison. Do you want to get us all in trouble? Myron jumped on top of Allison's desk. Hi, Allison, he said. Then he hopped over to Dee Dee's desk, then Ron's, then Mauricia's. Please, Myron, said Mauricia. This is fun, said Myron. He made a great leap and landed on top of the teacher's desk. Mrs. Jules had always kept a coffee can full of Tootsie Roll Pops on her desk, and it was still there. Hey, anyone want a Tootsie Roll Pop? Asked Myron. Everyone stared at him. Myron took one for himself, and he sat in the teacher's chair with his feet up on the teacher's desk and sucked on the Tootsie Roll Pop. Please stop, Myron, begged Jenny. What if he's hiding in the closet? Get real, said Myron. Why would he hide in the closet? What if Mr. Gorf was married to Mrs. Gorf? Asked Allison. Myron laughed. Who would ever want to marry Mrs. Gorf? He asked. Somebody had to marry her, said Rondi, or else she wouldn't have been a Mrs. What if he loved her very much? Asked Allison, and then one day she didn't come home for work, and he never saw her again. And he didn't know what happened to her, but he knew she used to teach this class, so he might be hiding in the closet to try and find out if we're the ones who got rid of her. If I was married to Mrs. Gorf, said Jason, I'd be glad she never came home again. Mr. Gorf should really thank us. Nice going, Jason, said Jenny. If he is hiding in the closet, you just told him we're the ones who got rid of his wife. Well, if I didn't, you just did, said Jason. It doesn't matter, shouted Myron, because Mr. Gorf is not hiding in the closet. Myron went to the back of the room and opened the closet door. A man stepped out of the closet. Thank you, he said. I accidentally locked myself in here this morning, and I've been waiting for someone to open the door for me. Myron swallowed his Tootsie Roll Pop, the stick and all. The end. Oh, that was an amazing chapter. I can't wait to find out what Mr. Gorf is all about, and if he's nice or mean. So tomorrow we'll read chapter 11, which is called Voices. I'm really excited to find out what happens, okay? If you have any predictions, I want you to write them down in your journal. Otherwise, see you soon.